Parents received the notice Wednesday morning with an urgent memo notifying them of a potential bomb threat. Students were asked not to come to school. Halton police sent a copy of the email threat to Global News. It appears to take aim at a teacher at the school who has gained international attention for their appearance. The teacher was pictured wearing large prosthetic breasts in class. After the images went public, the school board conducted a dress code review. And just last week, it was ultimately determined that the teacher would not be subject to a dress code when in class. Police say the email threat was received at around 6:30 a.m. Full of derogatory language, the email expressed anger at the teacher. It also threatened specific individuals within Halton School Board, as well as the high school and the school board as a whole.
Well, it's terrible for the kids and especially for the community. I think it's really too bad that this is going on.
The teacher has never publicly commented on their gender identity.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first Monday of March. Spring is right around the corner. I'm Dr. Jeff LaCure. This is Bros Who Know. Once again, I am with my podcast partner, Richard, the Dark Knight Yancey. And today, we got a special one for you. This one you might want to put your seatbelt on. We're going to talk to you today about some very interesting teachers who have been in the spotlight nationally and even globally lately. And first, I just want to put a little asterisk next to what Rich and I are about to talk about. We recognize, and we hope you recognize, that the majority of our educators, the majority of our teachers, the majority of our principals, the majority of our coaches and guidance counselors are outstanding people who are underpaid, who have dedicated their lives to the education and well-being of children. However, big however, and Rich is going to start. We got a big however for you. There's some interesting things, Rich, happening with some of our teachers right now in the media. What do you got, Rich? Share this one. I got to get comfortable.
We have women teachers that have sex with the students.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because what I would like to discuss with you, since you're a psychologist, right, is if that's abuse. Because I got to tell you, Jeff. You know, if I had 3 wishes when I was a teenager, that might be one of them. So, I don't know. So, is it abuse?
Well, you know, Rich, it's interesting because there is a subtle, I want to say maybe double standard. Meaning, if there's a man, let me rephrase that, a male as a teacher who is having sexual relationships with a student, across the board, that would be seen as inappropriate. Depending on the age, might even be seen as rape. What we're finding now is it is nowhere near as common for women as teachers, let me rephrase that, females as teachers, having sex with their students. However, we're starting to see more and more reports of it. And what you're kind of highlighting is, you know, for teenage boys, they do have some fantasies sometimes about maybe a younger, attractive teacher. But what you've been noticing and what I've been noticing in the media, this isn't the case. I mean, we're talking about women in their 30s and 40s and 50s with middle school students. And by the legal definition and moral definition, that's rape. That's just flat out rape, because a child in middle school legally cannot ever give their consent, no matter how much they think, ooh, maybe this teacher likes me. And the same thing happens with our male teachers is, you know, a middle school girl who may have a lot of vulnerabilities and so on says, oh, Mr. So-and-so really likes me and he's showing me this attention. At the end of the day, morally and legally, that is rape. And we are seeing more. That's what's so amazing about this topic is, sadly, it wasn't unheard of to see male teachers. Right? But you almost never heard about female teachers.
No, not lately.
And we're hearing about it all the time, Rich.
Well, that's where we need to figure this out, because I'll tell you why. So with middle schoolers, right? So girls, for instance, right? And a male rapes her. I'm talking, obviously that's abuse. But in order to rape a man, you have to be aroused. All right? You have to be physically aroused. Now, let me ask you this question. If a middle school boy is physically aroused, meaning he has an erection, isn't that consent?
No. That's the, and I'm glad we're bringing up this because we're going down a really
Oh yeah.
powerfully profound topic. And, the way you're presenting it, a lot of people actually go, well, if the guy's got an erection, it means it's consent. And it doesn't. And again, legally across every state in this country, a child under the age of 16, male or female, cannot give consent for sex. They can't. Even if they said yes, legally they can't, and it's statutory rape. It is possible in situations where a boy does get an erection, may even feel like, wow, this is really a blurred boundary, but this, I like this teacher's attractive, yay me. But at the end of the day, that teacher has emotionally violated that young child. And I see it in my office down the road. And so, it really is. It's abuse. It falls under the category of rape. And it's certainly the scary thing about it, Rich, and you and I were talking about it pre-production today, is how frequently it's happening. And I thought you brought up an excellent point, if I can bring it up, Rich, that you mentioned in pre-production, which is, what the hell kind of screening process do our schools have?
It's crazy.
Right? That they're hiring teachers, and it's enough of an issue. Again, the majority of teachers are outstanding. But they're hiring teachers who are preying on children. Right? It does make me wonder what the screening process is.
So, and that's what we talked about before we had this, before we started doing this podcast. Because it's a breakdown of seniority, right?
Yes.
But when you have a breakdown seniority, what's the consequences of that? Mm-hmm. And now we see students being violent, mm-hmm. Hitting teachers. Once you have a breakdown of seniority, you're gonna have consequences, Jeff.
That's right. That's a great point too, Rich. And if I highlight, there's, when you talk about breakdown, one of the biggest breakdowns I see as well is there's so much talk in schools now about human sexuality, I think anyways, in a way that is not age appropriate or particularly healthy. And you know what that does to young children? Because kids, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, are doing and watching films, or bringing home assignments, or they're not bringing home assignments, parents don't know. I think it desensitizes a young child, and it confuses them what's the normal healthy boundary, so that when you have predators in a school building, in a classroom, and again, I'm going to say it, the majority of teachers are outstanding. They care deeply about kids. They are not obviously condoning this kind of behavior. But there's enough teachers out there who are consciously blurring the boundaries. For example, why are we talking to a 7-year-old first grader about what it means to psychologically be and emotionally be transgendered? Right?
Well, we shouldn't. Yeah, we shouldn't. I think
they don't have an idea of how their own body works, let alone how somebody who may be dealing with, I'm not sure if I'm male, female, or both.
I don't even know if sex should be even a subject in most. I'm talking in middle school.
It's a great point, Rich.
I don't even think sex should be. Yeah, it shouldn't even be, because when you talk about sex, then that's going to be on the minds of people, right, in schools. Mm-hmm. And when you, like I said, teachers are supposed to have. It's not about you. We talked about that, right? It's not about you. So no matter what they want or what their fantasies are for teachers, mm-hmm. they have a moral. They have a moral standard that they have to abide by.
That's right.
So these kids can have a decent life.
That's right.
Because listen, let me tell you something. I joke about the kid, like a boy having sex with teachers, but the reality is that once that boy has sex with teachers, he's changed.
Oh, he's changed.
He's changed, and now he's an adult. He has his childhood has now been altered.
It's over, and you know what? He's at a greater likelihood
no more Santa
of doing.
Claus anymore.
Yeah,
Santa Claus is done.
Oh, it's all done, and you know what? Yeah.
And we want kids to be kids, right?
That's right. And what happens is when this teacher does that, their victim, and that's what they are, their victim is at a greater likelihood of doing that to a child when they become an adult.
And not only that, think of it this. So if that happens, mm-hmm. and then it stops, mm-hmm. and he really, and if he likes it,
that's right.
Now he's going to act out.
That's right.
Now he might rape someone.
It increases the likelihood because it confuses them Like if this is a trusted teacher,
Right.
and this teacher shows me this, and I don't mean special attention like it's special, but it is a unique attention, that kid gets confused on what healthy boundaries are.
Right.
Right? And they grow up. Here's the thing drives me nuts, Rich. I hope it drives you nuts, and I hope it drives you nuts. I've worked as a teacher and as a counselor in public schools for years and at the college level. And I have never once ever told any of my students that I'm heterosexual. There's no need for my sexuality
To even come in the
to
picture.
ever enter the classroom.
Right.
But we know for a fact, and this is dangerous. I think it's dangerous, it's unhealthy, and it says more about the adult, and I use that term loosely, than it does the child. Why do we have teachers coming into their classroom telling their third and fourth grader, I'm gay, I'm bisexual, I'm gender fluid, I'm transgendered, I'm asexual? Kids don't need to know what someone's sexuality
Well,
is
I'll push
to
it
learn
to
how
you.
to read a book,
Right.
how to do math, and how to study U.S. history.
And I'll add to that, Jeff. They don't even understand it.
That's right.
Forget about it. They don't even understand it. They don't even understand themselves. They don't even know, they know little about themselves.
That's right.
It's going to be impossible to understand what what an adult is going through.
That's right.
Okay? And it's too personal.
It's very personal.
We got to keep this profession. So, they're the teacher and they're the student. We
Yeah.
should know about their personal life, right?
Right.
We got to keep that separate. Like, it's one of those things, like I said, it's a slippery slope.
That's right.
Because once you start being friends with your students,
It's over.
that's where the problem comes.
It's over.
You got to keep it professional.
Got it.
They shouldn't. Yeah, right. I'm glad that you're like that, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, you got it, Rich.
I know you're straight though.
I'm sitting like this, people are like, we're not so sure, right?
But if he wasn't, I still love you. If he wasn't, I still love you.
You know what? Because it ain't about our sexuality.
Who
It's about
cares?
who we are,
Yeah,
right?
who cares?
So I'm going to look into the camera on this
Right.
one, Rich. On behalf of Rich and I teachers, if you're watching, we love you. We appreciate what you do. But these kind of teachers, we hope you get fired right away. Stop bringing your sexuality into a class. It has nothing to do with why you're there. And by the way, as a father of 4, Rich is the father of 1, we don't care what your sexuality is. We don't care. You know what we care about? Teach our children how to read properly.
Right.
Teach our children how to do math properly. Teach our children U.S. history. Teach our children how to be kind to others, and leave your sexuality and your little special flags, whether it's a straight flag, a gay flag, any flag, you leave your flags at home. You want to wave your flag, but when it comes to my kid, you teach them.
Well, so I'm glad we touched about this.
Getting
This is going to
emotional,
be
Rich.
this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Because look, I'm a man. I'm a straight man. I don't care if someone's gay or not. I could care less.
I don't care if someone's straight.
Well, I don't care if this.
Yeah.
But for men, more gay guys there are, the better we are. All right.
It
That means more women.
There's
for us,
more
right?
pickings.
But this is where it gets a little tricky. So if you have 2 dressing rooms, you have a male dressing room and a woman dressing room, okay? And my daughter, who's at the time was probably like 16, 15 years old, right?
Yeah.
And you have a transgender that walks in there that has a penis to go into the fitting rooms. I'm not comfortable with that.
No.
And I'll tell you why I'm not comfortable with that. Because we don't know if that's real. We don't know if that's real or fake. We don't know if that's if that person is just using that giddy up just to
Absolutely.
get in there to victimize my daughter. You don't know that.
Yep.
So if this is going to be a law, then you have to change everything. It should be males, females, and then a whole transgender. They should have their own room.
Yes.
You can't mix. You know what I mean? My daughter goes into the women's bathroom. It should be only vaginas in that bathroom. Maybe we should change it to penis and vaginas.
You know what? It's clear.
Right?
It's clear.
Because I don't want my daughter going in because not
Your
because
daughter doesn't want it
yeah,
either.
and not because of what they are, but who knows if they're they could be playing this role
They are.
just to take advantage of
They
my
are.
daughter.
Rich, I'm going to
obviously,
tell
I
you,
don't know.
the majority, and again, there are people, right? Here's that clinical view. But let me close this loop. There are people who are absolutely born in the wrong body. There's no question about it. It is a minuscule number. But there are people who are born into the wrong body, and thankfully there are ways now to adjust that. However, I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of people who identify as transgendered have major emotional issues, have probably major mental health issues, and are using that as some sort of outlet. Quite frankly, and we're going to talk about her later, this shop teacher up in Canada is wearing her fake breasts. Let me restate it. Wearing his fake breasts around middle school children, not because he's practicing freedom and practicing, I want to be female. It's a kinky fetish for him. And
Now,
that's what you're talking about.
Okay, so how do you differentiate that? Like, how do you know that for a fact that he's doing that to, you know,
Years of experience in the mental health field, right?
Right.
And the bottom line is, Rich,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you and I talk a lot on our podcast about freedom and how much we love this country. And you know what? If he wants the freedom to wear these magnificent, massive breasts.
Well, I saw them. They show the nipples.
No,
and
it's
everything.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? If he wants the freedom to do it, then the school district has the right to say, you know what? How you're dressed is inappropriate, particularly for middle school kids. And here's what sank his ship. And thankfully, finally, somebody followed him around. You know what his deal is, Rich? And it's a kink. It's a fetish. It arouses him. It turns him on. And you know how we know that?
How do we know that?
Because when he was followed around with hidden cameras, guess what they found?
What they find?
He wasn't dressing that way at home. He wasn't dressing that way with his family and friends. He wasn't dressing that way socially. The only time, for the most part, that he was dressing that way was at school.
Right.
Was at school.
Yeah, that's.
We got to shut that down.
Again, so you know that's when we always want to be free, but
That's
we have
right.
to be free with rules.
That's right.
You need rules.
That's right.
Otherwise, if there's no rules, you have chaos, right?
And
So
I
you
agree.
need some rules, and I think and I think we talked about this before. Sadly enough,
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes back to the parents. I think it goes back to the parents should have the power again over their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then the school can discipline them to a certain degree, report to the parents. Okay, but the teachers have to hold their integrity. They can't, they got to come into school with just the kids on their mind. It's not about them, how they want to
That's right,
dress
that's
and
right.
what they want. It's not about them. It's about the kids, right?
That's right.
Because we send our kids there to get an education, correct?
That's right.
So they have to have some kind of, there has to be some kind of leadership there, whether it be the principal, and rules.
That's right.
And the rules should just go across the board.
That's right.
Because unfortunately, when you lessen the rules,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you're going to have these kinds of things because it's
And that school district, Rich, and every administrator there should be not just embarrassed.
Right.
They should be humiliated that that's how their school is identified. Again, I want to say that when someone is born, and it does happen, into the wrong body, they don't have a mental illness.
Right.
It's not a fetish.
No, I agree
It's
with you.
not a
No,
kink,
that makes sense.
right? It's weird biological happening, but it is the tiniest of
Right.
percentage. The people that we see out there, and they're on their YouTube and so on,
Yeah.
they are so emotionally unhealthy and so unsure. And you know one of the most common surgeries right now?
What?
Just saw this the other day. Look it up, folks. Just saw it the other day.
What's that?
Is people that had gender reassignment are realizing that wasn't the deal. And
Yeah,
now they're
that's a tough one.
retransitioning
Yeah, that's a tough
back.
one. It's never going to look the
And
same.
think
Jeff.
about these young kids that are getting hormone blockers
young.
now.
Yeah, too
they're getting the breasts removed. Some of them are getting their penises removed before they even are clear
They
what
can't even
their
vote.
world looks
They
like.
can't even vote.
Can't even vote
So
yet.
so let's put this in perspective.
Yeah.
If you have a child today and you bring them to school, not only you got to worry about the teachers,
Mm-hmm.
not only you have to worry about the violence that goes on, and then the mass shootings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We're worried about everything except for worried about if they're going to get, if they're going to graduate.
Get an education, right? Yeah.
Where's this? So where's this going? I think as a nation,
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of issues.
We really do.
And-
I think we're coming out of, and there's always a toll to pay, Rich. In 2020, when there was all these protests, the Black Lives Matters protests, other social justice, and I use that term loosely because that wasn't about social justice. That was about money and power. When you have this, here's the outcome of it now, right? The dust is sort of settled, right?
Right.
Cities aren't burning as much. We're not, breaking into police stations. We're not burning down Fred or Sarah's private business like we did in not we, but as many people did in 2020. But you know what it created? A lot of angry young people.
Right.
A lot of angry young people.
Mm-hmm.
And we focus so much on our differences instead of focusing on our similarities that are, we got a group of angry young people out there that it used to be. When you and I were in school, and we're a little bit older probably than many of our viewers, but boy, I'll tell you what, if a teacher told you to jump, you said how
you jump.
high. And you know what our parents
Right.
did?
Oh,
We
yeah.
came home and complained about a teacher. They said, listen to that teacher.
Exactly.
Not anymore.
And
We
that's- but see,
disempowered teachers.
and that's the sad part about the whole thing. I said, we have to give the power back to the parents. When the two parents are working, or if it's a single parent,
That's right.
and the kid has to go and basically, fend for himself, it's going to be an angry, lonely child. When
That's
you can't,
right.
when he can't, when he can't.
You know how this is going to change, Rich?
How?
And this will change because, I again, just saw another study the other day that said private school enrollment and applications are up almost 40% since 2020.
Oh, wow.
I wonder why. Charter school applications are up. See, people are tired of this public school nonsense that's going
Right.
on where it's become indoctrination camps. Is when public school teachers, and remember, the majority of them are outstanding, when they finally speak up and say, cut the crap. We're here to educate. We're here to role model. We're here to be inclusive for everyone, but we're not going to do this weird indoctrination stuff that we're doing. We're not going to teach first and second graders that being white is bad. We're not going to teach first and second grade black students that you're just a victim and can hope for nothing greater than that. We're not going to teach children what it means to be gay, straight, or bisexual when most boys haven't even learned how to pee standing up yet.
Right.
I hope you're all laughing about that one. That's one of my best jokes. It fell flat on Rich. I'm a little nervous here. He was my Ed McMahon there for a moment. I went old school on that one.
You're absolutely right. We got to
Right.
start leading by example.
That's right, Rich.
We have to start leading by example. Like I said, it's like these teachers. It's just like I said. We have what I would say 85% of them.
Yeah.
But it's always like that, right? Even with the police officers, 85,
Everybody.
90%. It's everything across the board.
But we got to get rid of them.
No, we can't get.
And there's such a shortage
You can't
of
do it.
teachers right now.
Right.
Schools can't hire them.
I think across the board. I think all these educationers and all the people, law enforcement. I think across
Shortage.
the board, we just we're falling short.
Real short.
I think that the police officers nowadays, they don't have the support they need. I
No.
think the teachers, they don't have the support they need. I think when a teacher sees that, they just probably throw their hands up in the air like they can't do anything about it,
Because they're not speaking up.
right?
Right? I'm waiting. I challenge you as educators. I mean it sincerely. Rich and I are challenging you. The majority of you watching this are outstanding. Don't think we're anti-educators. We're both
Right.
teachers.
We're talking about the small percent.
That's right. We're talking about the small percent. But the small percent is
Ruin it.
vocal. And the small percent is tearing apart the fabric of your institution. Don't think for a moment it's not.
Right.
And I don't hear teachers coming out. You know why? I talk to a lot of teachers privately, and they absolutely support what we're talking about. They bring it up. They're afraid to bring it up because of the vocal minority is going to shout them out, is going to shout them down. And you know what? Folks, use us then. Rich and I will be your voice.
The bros who know.
That's right. Rich and I will be their
I
voice.
think we covered it, Jeff.
Yeah, I think so. So, hey, let's close it with this, Rich. First and foremost, Rich and I want to thank Michelle Hebshe, the premium producer, who, quite frankly, and Rich and I, we say this all the time. This program, this event, this venue, this edutainment that we try to provide you every week doesn't happen without the grace and class and knowledge of Michelle. So, Michelle, thank you so much for everything. And to our viewers, you know what we need you to do? Not going to lie. You watch. We see it. You tune in, and we appreciate the good feedback, but you stop it just short. We need you to like it. We need you to subscribe to it. And you know what else we need you to do? This is very important content because Rich and I are out here taking chances, right? We are vocal. We need you to spread the word. We need you to tell everybody about Rich and Jeff and what we're doing. And take a look at us, right? This is a cool look right here, right? These are guys who are confident in what they say, which is why we're bros who know. You got to spread the word because, you know what? Parts of our country are drowning. Let Rich and I be your lifeguards. On behalf of Bros to Know, 2 more weeks till spring. We'll see you soon.